Hello, welcome to GRDS 103, Design Elements and Principles. I'm Joel, I'm your instructor. I sit back here, I'll control everything up there. We have people who are online watching, and then this is recorded also. So everything you can watch up there. People in class, I'll work with you. I had to download new drivers to get that tablet to work, so I'll get computers working perfectly by Wednesday, and you guys will enjoy the ability to use a tablet and a drawing screen. It's going to be great. But for those, that's enough for the people in class, online, everybody, welcome. Let's get started. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to go very quickly through Blackboard for anybody who's new, how to work things, where things are. You'll see it on your screen. You'll see what's happening. I'm going to do the first lecture, and then I'm going to start working on assignments with you. And then Wednesday, I'm going to continue working on assignments with you. You're going to be introduced to new programs. If you're working at home, I hope you read the announcements. You will need Adobe Creative Cloud if you're working from home, because you will be using Adobe Illustrator and InDesign throughout this course. So if you don't have it, come on in. We got it here at MATC downtown. We got it on all computers, and we have double screens, great setups. It's amazing to work in these studios, just like a professional studio. So you will need that if you are working at home. We have it here at the school, so you can get all your homework done. You don't have to worry about getting the program yourself. So that's a little note there. Let's go through. So if you're new to Blackboard, you log in with your, the people online must know. If you're new to it here, you log in with your username and password, just like you would anything else for MATC, and you can type in MATC Blackboard, and then it'll come up. Content is just our standard area of where we work, where everything is. There is a calendar if you want to use it, and it should coincide with all of your work. And as you can see, it can list like when your classes are, what assignments are due, when they're due, all that kind of good stuff. And I think if you're signed in, or if you look at your bigger calendar in Blackboard, it'll have all your classes. Announcements. I don't do a lot of announcements. I do a lot more messages to reach all of you, but the announcement, this is the welcome one. It talks to you about, when we're meeting, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 to 11. It's, that's when we meet every Tuesday. It's a 16-week course. We kind of do a little bit of lecturing and work on Tuesdays, a little lecturing and work on Thursdays to spread it out instead of one giant class. Here's links for the Adobe Creative Cloud that you can get if you need it at home. Again, if you do it at home, make sure you get the student subscription. It is cheaper. And then you use your MATC username and password when purchasing it, so they can link it to this school, and they'll make sure you get your discount. So make sure you get the Adobe, otherwise it's hundreds of dollars more. And then the other one, if you're working at home and you have a laptop, which everybody has a laptop these days, everybody's got laptops, and you're using that little trackpad in the middle, you're gonna want a mouse. You're gonna want a physical mouse, because when you're a graphic designer and you're starting to design, you're gonna be using key commands. You're gonna have to hold down Shift and Command while dragging and pulling something, and you can't, there's some physical things you won't be able to do anymore if you're like, I'll just use the trackpad. If you get a mouse, you're gonna have easy access to the right click, left click, key commands, all this kind of stuff. And it's going to make it 1,000 times easier to work. And for all those who are like, want to rush through and I want to get my homework done, having a mouse will make you work probably almost twice as quick. So and what kind of mouse? Just a $10 mouse. Go to anywhere that sells a mouse, and it just has to have 2 buttons, left click, right click, and plugs into your computer. Great. It doesn't have to be, I'm not saying like get that gaming mouse for $100. No, It's just something that you can move your hand separately from the trackpad, so you can use a keyboard with another hand, and you can do stuff like click, drag, hold, and stuff like that. So very important. If you're here on campus at these great computers, we have what's called a Wacom, depends on who you are, how you say it, stylus pad, and that will be your mouse. I just have to update the software because Apple updated their system software, and now I have to update this other software, and I didn't know that. So I'll get that going, but you will, working with a stylus instead of a mouse is the next step up. It's just like holding a pen, and it's kind of beautiful and great. It changes the world. So there we are with those announcements. And if anybody's got questions, just feel free and interrupt me and ask. All right. There's a discussion area. These will generally, you'll access these discussions through the assignment area or the content area, but this is a secondary place you can enter them. It's not a big deal. Discussions are set up either for sharing, if you have questions about the class, if you want to send me your work before you turn it in. Oh, let me zoom in on this. If you want to, you know, I have mid-session reviews. So like halfway through, you're like, oh, before I turn it in for sure, I'm going to send it to Joel. He's going to check it and then tell me what to adjust and fix to make sure I get a perfect grade. I do that. Like, why not? Hey, why not make sure you get it perfect every time? And then the more you get it perfect in the beginning, then you learn, and then you stop using mid-session because you got it under control. And then other ones, these are for sharing, and I'll talk about that more later on, that you'll be looking at other students' work, sharing, telling them, oh, hey, I like this. I like that example you found, stuff like that. It gets you more engaged, and it gets you to see more work. You get to see what other people are doing, how they're progressing compared to how you're progressing. It is basically, in the graphic design community, these are critiques. It's a critique area where you look at other people's work compared to your own, and you see what they do. Don't worry, it's all good. You have a grading area. Your current grade will be always up to date, so you'll always know what your grade is. I grade as soon as I can. I never let things like go for like 2 weeks. I'm always on top of it. I'm always grading as soon as I can. As soon as grouping of assignments are turned in, I grade them. If it's a assignment with no discussion, I grade it sooner. If it's an assignment with a discussion, I wait the whole week so you can make your discussion entries. It's all good, but you'll always know your grade constantly. So there's not going to be like a surprise, like 3/4 of the way the semester through, you get this, like all of a sudden you get your grade and you're like, wait, what? So don't worry about that. Messages, you can message me through Blackboard. It's easier than switching out and going to Google, Gmail to message me. So you can message me directly through here and I'll message you back right away. And just click new message and then it selects and it shows you who and stuff. And analytics and groups, don't even worry about those. I don't use them. I wish I could just take them off, but I can't. So that's the basic breakdown there. I have these old resources from the college. MATC has a ton of help. If you are in any way need help with studying, with anything, the first thing I would say, check out MATC accommodations. They will give you resources to help you succeed at MATC. That's the number one, accommodations. If you take, I don't care what it is, and you're like, I've always needed help with this, see what accommodations can help you with. A lot of times there'll be like other quizzes in your class, and the quiz that we have in this class is not a true quiz, so don't worry about it. But if you have time management, need help with understanding things, they will set you up with tutors and other things to help you get through. You are not on your own, so click through the resources. You guys get inundated by emails about resources and this stuff. Check them out. Like, they're there to help. And contact me. Don't wait. The more you're in contact with me, the better you'll do in the class. If you're sick, you're out, you missed something, I'll be like, sounds good, get it in tomorrow. You know, like I'll give you a little room, but I don't do it all the time. If you're habitually like that, I know, and I'm just going to say like, no, you got to catch up. You got to stay, because the industry, which is based on the industry. So use help and resources wherever possible. Thousands of them. You run into a problem, they got fast fund grants. Last year at the end of the semester, there was a group here at MATC giving out free laptops to students, free. So you just got to pay attention to what MATC is doing. So lots of great resources here. Let's look at syllabus, grading, and course outline. Syllabus. I'm not going to read this. This is the standard syllabus that MATC has. I don't add anything new. So if you see one, you've seen them all. It just lists all the stuff you need to know about. Course competency, career essentials. So if you have a problem, something happens, you're not sure about something, you kind of check this first, and then you can come to me. You know, like, but I mean, this is usually technical stuff. Hopefully you never, like, the syllabus, we meet twice a week, I grade on time. If there's some dispute about something, you talk to me, whatever. Projects and grading. This is how we do the course. So you're going to have research and projects every week. Let's see if I make that even bigger. The research is finding, making a little presentation and finding some examples. It's nice and easy. The project section is about exploring the design element or the design principle that we're going to work on, nice and easy. We're going to do some design practice. That's just getting you starting to use Illustrator and InDesign, the two major design programs that you can't not know. As a graphic designer, you have to know these two programs and a little bit of Photoshop, but we're going to get you started jumping in. You're going to learn them. You're going to know them. And it's not a problem. I take you through it. You develop, like, but I've never taken Illustrator class and I haven't taken the InDesign class. Don't worry. We're going to baby step you through this, and we're going to do some basic stuff. You're going to do just fine. You're going to have two bigger projects. I'll talk about those in 8 weeks when we get to them. Don't worry now. There's some chapter summaries, and then I call them GRDS quizzes. They're not really quizzes. That's how I take attendance, and I'll talk about that in a minute. There's a book, but you don't need the book unless you want it. I have all the textbook portions in the assignment, but if you're someone who's like, I can't read on a computer, I need the physical book, you can get the physical book yourself. That is it. Grading breakdown, grades, and this is how we do all of our sessions. There's 16 in there. And as you can see, it's pretty similar every week. It's like you get a chapter, you get a research, a project, design practice, and then when something goes away, something new comes in. So you're going to get in a rhythm. I want you, it's all about like kind of repeating, step and repeating. The better I find is learning graphic design, learning how to do your design skills. It's a lot of it's just repetition. You do it once, all right, do it again, do it again, do it again, and the more you do it, takes 10 times to get something perfect. There you go. We're gonna get you there. Oh, didn't want to do that. So huge. All right. General rubric and grading. So my assignments are written in a like a step-by-step process. So I'm like, step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. So I can tell pretty easily, like, oh, you missed this step and this step. Like, that's how I grade. You missed some steps. There is some that is artwork based where sometimes I can tell sloppy work is sloppy work comparatively. And I'll be like, oh, you could have done better, like spend more time on it. But like, for an example, if the step is craft 3 sketches utilizing only 2 sans serif letters, has the student generated 3 sketches? Did they employ sans serif fonts? Has the student adhered to only using 2 letters? So like there's 3 things in this one sentence that I can grade on. So I make it very clear of what you're doing. When there's a discussion, it's a full grade. So if it says comments on 2 people's work, I look, did you comment on 2 people's work? And it's a grade. I want you to look at what other people are doing. Late assignment, so like note that. So if you just turn it in and you're like, I'm not going to make comments, just know you're always going to get a B. That's the highest you'll get. I want to say you'll get a B. If it's A work and you didn't make discussions, you'll get a B if you're doing A work. Late assignments, if it's late, it's a grade down. So why is that? Graphic design is a time-based profession. You have deadlines. Your work is due this day. That client is expecting it that day because what you do transfers to other things. And so if you start bad habits now, you won't end up in a career very long. So late assignments is a full grade down. And then I won't accept work 7 days after the due date. So that's 2 weeks. So if you're every 2 weeks, the section shuts down completely. You can't make it up. You could beg and plead, and I'm going to be like, no, it's 2 weeks late. The client moved on. You lost the job. You're moving on. So don't procrastinate at all. You shouldn't have to worry about that. But just so you know, don't be like, I'm going to save all the work till the end of the semester and just turn it in at once. No, you're not going to be turning anything in except for the last 2 weeks of work. So, yep, I adhere to this. Things just shut down automatically. It's set to shut down. So just stay on top of things. You can do it. We can all do it. I've seen many, many students do this good. So don't worry about it. How to reach me. I'm always checking. You can go on the discussion boards. I respond to every assignment. The best thing you want from me is, this is awesome. Great work. Sometimes it'll be short because I look through a lot of assignments. Longer ones, I'll tell you exactly what to fix, what went wrong, but if you're just getting like really quick answers from me, it means you're great. Keep moving on. Keep up the great work. You can email me anytime. You can do the message boards at any time. Virtual office hours. Pretty much anytime I can meet you, I will meet you. Like I don't have a specific on Mondays from this time to this time only, I'm available for you to talk to me. I'm available Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 if I'm not teaching. You send me an email and be like, can we chat? I'll be like, what time? I'm available. What time? I'm available at 1 o'clock. Do you want to meet at 1? So anytime you want to meet, we can meet. So just let me know. So if I've had people like, well, when are your virtual office hours? I'm like, anytime. You just let me know. Like, I want to help you out. There's GChat, comes with the MATC account. Some people use it. And then here's my phone number. Leave a message or text me, but let me know who you are. I teach a lot of classes, which a lot of students. And so if you don't, the first thing you get back to waste time is, who are you and what class is this question about? So just be like, this is so-and-so from, you could just put in 103, and I have a question about the first assignment, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So tons of ways to reach me. You should never be like, I could never reach the instructor. I had a question. They didn't reach out to me. That doesn't work. All right. Time expectations. This is a 3-credit course. This is a 3-credit college course. This is standardized through any college. This is what they tell you. This is like a state mandate. So the classroom hours are generally between 1 to 3 hours in classroom. We have it scheduled about 4, but that's also so you can ask me questions or work on the machines here. And then you'll have 6 to 8 hours of homework per week. That's for a 3-credit class. So expect to work, you'll be working 8 to 9 hours a week on one 3-credit course. That's why when you're a full-time college student, if you take 5 courses, that's a 40-hour week of courses. So if you're like, well, I work full-time and I'm taking, 5 courses, your week is 80 weeks, 80 hours long. It's a lot of work. So figure that out for yourself. Know that you can always take less classes if need be, but you have a choice of what you do. Just know this is what a college expects, not just our technical college, but if you go anywhere, they're expecting that one course is going to take you 8 to 9 hours per week. So there's that rundown, just expectations. I went over this later on in the course. I'm not going to, I might start it right away. You have the rubric, but I'm also going to use this graphic design oversights. And so if you do something, these are like 20 of the most common things that are done like wrong. And I'll go over this in more detail, but you'll get like a little image with a check mark on it, meaning like you did it wrong. Like you didn't set up the bleed correctly or the margin, and then it's 2 points off per. And it's going to make it easier because then you can just look and know like, okay, I didn't set up this right. I stretched the text, or I did these things that you'll learn about that I wasn't supposed to do, but it's just easier than me writing out. I know it's like I'm trying to be late, but when I have to write the same thing a bunch of times, I just thought, I'm going to try this checklist thing. You guys are new to it, doing every course this semester. So if you have questions, comments, or concerns, this first week, I just have this general one. Post them there. Let me know what's going on, what you need. Yeah. And it's just a discussion board. You've like, I didn't know about this. How do you do this? All right. In our studio sessions, once you open it, these 3 will always be here. This week 1 will disappear after the first week. And then sessions will open up every week. So session 1 is available to you. Then next week, session 2, and then the next week, session 3, and then they close out when they close out after 2 weeks. So you'll know. And so it makes it easier for you to understand like, what's next? It's just like, we're in session 1 or 2 or 3. So it makes it a little bit easier on you that I don't keep them all open as well. Any questions before we dive in and learn about design? All right, cool. So this is how things are going to be broken out per week. And I'm going to zoom out just a bit. There's always going to be the attendance. The attendance is due on Thursday, end of day. If you don't fill this out, you will be marked absent, even if you do it late. Well, actually, yeah, if you do it late, you're going to be absent. It takes 5 minutes. I put 15 minutes on there. There are 5 questions about graphic design. I want you to use the internet. Google it. It should take you 5 minutes. And this is because I have people who are online, virtual, and in class. This is the only way I can take attendance clearly. And it's very important that I take attendance because if you don't show up and you don't do your attendance assignments, you will get dropped from the course. The college is very clear on that. It affects financial aid. It affects your standing. If you decide you don't like this course and you just stop showing up, do yourself a favor, drop the course so it doesn't affect your college standing. There's so many students who just think, I'll just keep it. You're going to fail the class then. And then now you have a U, and then you want to come back in a bunch of years. You have all these U's because you should have dropped rather than, you just stop going instead of dropping. So pay attention to your own stuff and how it's going to affect you later on in life, how it's going to affect your financial aid, how it's going to affect your college standing here and other places in the future. Let's like the attendance, like here it is. I'm going to open it up. You click on it and you click start attempt. Don't be nervous. It's like little questions. Here it is. I think it says, don't stress. This isn't about memorization or pressure. You could use your notes, the internet, or even a phone. Call a friend, like whatever. So like it's 5 questions. What does CMYK stand for? If you don't know that, you just copy that. I'll do the big so you can see copy and go into Google, hit paste, hit return, and stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key or black. Color mode, no. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. Boom. There you go. I use the internet, got it. It's easy A, and it's your attendance. So then you just go to the next one. So it's up to you. Again, it needs to be done, and it needs to be done by this date. And then I think it's like Friday morning, the day after this date, I grade first thing, or I do the attendance first thing in the morning. This is the line lecture. We'll go over this in a minute. Set midweek session review. This is for all projects. You click on this. If you hit type a post, use this attachment area. It's the paper clip. It's like normal, but a lot of people like see this. Sometimes this doesn't always show up, or like, how do I add my assignments? You actually have to click on the type of post, and then the information comes up. Send your work to me. Like if you want me to check it, send it. Like, did I do this right? And I'll get right back to you. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Don't post it the night before it's due. You know what I mean? Like if it's due Tuesday at midnight, don't post here Tuesday at 10 p.m. I'm sleeping. I won't be checking it, and then you'll be like, well, I posted it and you didn't look. Well, you got to give me time before it's due to look, and I'm not going to stay up till midnight waiting for you to turn in your work, because they're always due at midnight. And then I will do these later, but use that midsection review. I'm going to talk about the line lecture. I'll do research today and maybe the book, and then Thursday I'll do the other 2 projects. So we'll spread it out, because I know attention spans and how long they last. I like to kind of keep things within an hour 15 of me talking, and then that gives you some time to work. And that's why I spread the class out over 2 sessions, is I think it just makes it easier. And then you can absorb some stuff, come back, work on some things some more. I work on them with you. I show you exactly what to do, how to do stuff. It'll be great. So let's dive in and learn about line. I'm going to open up 2 items. I'm going to start out before line. All right. Let's get a paintbrush. Dot. Right there on the screen. Let me zoom in. That is a point. It's a point in space. So if we were like kind of do that like weird like, and like this is one plane going this way, and this is another plane going this way, and then like this is like, so we're in a 3D space. If I just draw a dot, that's called a point, and it's a point in space. Now, what we're going to do is, if I have a point here and I have a point over here, once I connect these, I now have what's called a line. Now, a point is used in graphic design at points, but more expressively is we talk about line. And that's what this whole first chapter is about, is using line in graphic design. And you're thinking, what? Just line? But it's a building block. And as we go through the first 3 weeks, you're going to learn about point and line today. And point is just quick, and you're going to learn about it in the book. Then we're going to learn how lines become shapes, shapes become forms. And so that like there's a step through, and that's why. So I just drew a line. It's from point A to B. Or what if I did this? I have point A to be. But what if I wanted to get there more expressively? There we go. It's still a line, but here's straight, here's curvy. You know, so I've changed. Now I'm starting to almost like, quote unquote, change the mood of the line. Let me do another one. Change the mood of the line again, but it's still a line. It's going from point A to point B. I can do weird stuff. I can just, that is a line. As soon as I do this, that is a shape. So because I closed it off, that's what changes it from a line to a shape. Let's see what I can do. So if I simply just erase this middle, per se, now this is a line. So a line never connects to itself. The second a line comes around and connects to itself, you've developed a shape, which is next week's talk. So anything we do when we're like playing around and when you work on your assignment, one of your assignments is, you know, line. Oh, it's still a line. I didn't close it. It looks like a square, but it still hasn't been closed up. You know, as soon as I close it, it's a circle. This is still a line. So there's a lot of goofiness there about that definition, but a line is from one point to another without closing itself up. As soon as you close it up, you could, I did like do this, and then I went back and followed. And then as soon as I close, you know, like now that's a fillable shape. It's not a line. But if I maybe like, you know, you'd be like, well, it's a really thick line. Well, then you got, then it's still, then you have to make it thick. If I see those outlines, like that could be a really thick line. And to the thick, thin, all that kind of stuff. All right, let's check this out. I'm going to zoom in and I'll talk about it, draw on here, and then we'll have some fun. All right, so I talked about this. Line is a fundamental element of design. Oh, I'll talk about this. So the class is called Design Elements and Principles. I want you to think about the elements as like things you would put on, quote unquote, the page or the artboard. It could be a line, a shape, a form, a color. Like it's almost like physical. And then when we get to the principles, that's like theory. How do you arrange those elements on the page? So the first half of this semester is all about the things you put on the page. The second half is how you arrange those things on the page. So that's to help you out, to help define why is this called Design Elements and Principles. Oh, yeah, I'm recording. Now, we can define the characteristics. A line is a continuous mark made by a moving point. We showed that. It has a length and a direction, but minimal width. We kind of say that because you could do a rectangle, like color it. And if this was filled in, you could be like, it's a really fat and short line. Sure, but to most people, we just call it a rectangle instead of fat and short line. You know, that's just for the naysayers who want to argue every point. Characteristics, they can vary in length, width, curvature, direction. They can be straight, curved, diagonal, horizontal, vertical, organic, whatever you want. It's like the world is open to you when it comes to how you draw your lines. So there's a ton of things out there, but it will affect how your design turns out. Because as we're going to learn throughout the semester, is a lot of these things, a lot of these elements that we put into the design will affect emotion. And we want the emotion to carry through to the to the viewer or the consumer, because if we can get an emotional tag on them, they'll remember our work. And if they remember our work, they'll buy the product we're advertising to them. Because that's what graphic designers do. We're advertising. We are taking, somebody has a business and they say, hey, graphic designer, I want you to alert people of my business. Here's what I want you to do. And you do it. And then hopefully it draws more customers in. So the types of lines will start to convey emotion, like straight lines, order, and efficiency. Horizontal lines suggest calmness, while vertical lines imply strength or height. Isn't that crazy? So that's true. Like, think about laying down. You know, like a line, just horizontal. Oh, just like, or you have tall lines, really tall lines, which would symbolize something else. So you got to think of, like, if you're really tall or horizontal, really long, it draws people out. It's crazy how this influences how people think emotionally. It's super cool. You have so much psychological power on people as a graphic designer. Curved lines suggest movement and grace and more natural. Of course, if if I do the straight line or the curved line. So I have a very straight line. It's very, it's fine. But if I like real gentle, that just changes everything right there. It's like, it's like you think of maybe ocean waves, just calm waves going through, so you start to think about different things. But it's just a line, which is crazy. Diagonal lines, craziness. Yeah, you're like, it's super exciting. We got diagonal lines going, and it does. Like, diagonal lines add dynamic energy and tension to a piece. Because when we're looking at a page, and if say I just do the standard like poster or page, if you just have like straight lines and you're like, okay, that's a nice design. Oop, hit the wrong button. But undo work? No, okay, set up. But if I draw that same thing, thank you for that. Gotta update some other items here besides but if you do diagonal lines on that page, it's gonna be like far more exciting design. Zigzag lines, more excitement, chaos, instability, horizontal and vertical lines associated with stability and balance. We talked about that. Role in the composition, structure and form. Lines are fundamental for creating the structure and form of object. They define the boundaries of shapes and contribute to the overall composition. So that one is true. If I were to just with lines, there's a shape. I defined a shape using line. I will teach you to not do this anymore in the future, because unless you want your shape defined, you don't need to do that. The better one is to simply have your shape and I'm going to edit this. And just have your standard shape. There's no need to define. If you have a filled shape, there's no reason to have a line around it to define it even more. And once we get to shape, I'm going to sort of be insistent that you turn off that part of your brain that says, when I draw something, it needs an outline in order for it to be correct. This is actually correct. If I want to draw a lined square, this is correct. If I just want a square, this is correct. We don't need to tell people that it has an edge. We can see the edge. It'll make more sense next week. All right. Hierarchy, emphasis. So hierarchy is a major component principle of design. What is most important on the page to what is least important? there is always hierarchy on the page. What do we want people to know the most to what do we want that we don't care, but it needs to be on the page anyway? So lines can help define that. We can have an arrow. We can have things pointing. Those are lines that will help people see, like, I need to see this first. It's important. And then the other ones are less important. And then you can use lines to make patterns and textures just to make your designs far more interesting than they would be. Lines can express emotion and mood. Characteristics can evoke, specific emotions. Sharp and jagged lines might convey tension, while gentle flowing lines may evoke calmness. So think about this for your assignment coming up. Sorry, a lot of talking. I gotta drink a lot of tea. And then symbolism. Lines can be used symbolically, representing stability, movement, or growth. And there's just things that are made up of lines. Symbols that are made up of lines that actually mean stuff. And so you have to kind of be cognizant of that. Lines are used to create everything. They are the basis. It goes from a point to a line to a plane, and the plane is actually a shape, and then further out form and whatever. So it is kind of the starting point. And achieving balance between different types of lines is essential, meaning you don't want one piece to have every type of line imaginable in it. I have dashed lines, curvy lines, straight lines, diagonal lines, like thick lines, thin lines. Just like, how much chaos do you want in a piece? So let's look at some cool examples from the ages. Here's a wonderful piece, all about line. Well, it's about milk chocolate first. First and foremost, hierarchy, it is about milk chocolate. But when we get into it, it's about line. We have these lines coming down from the top. So that's kind of the background, right? We have the background. Light pink and red. So if we look, the product is red and yellow. Their logo is red and yellow. So we have these red lines with like a cream color. So we could say that's really light yellow. So it's all in the same color. We have these lines coming down from this information up here, drawing our eye down. Then we have contrast. We have the sampler, the model, who's also wearing a shirt with lines in it, but they contrast that it's a thick blue and a thin white instead of like equal red and white. So they kept the lines going. And then when the lines come down, they go through her, they come out at us in a perspective that draws us in. So as we read from the top, we come down, we run into the model, we see this piece, and it comes out at us. Or if for some reason we came and we looked at the bottom, we would actually do the opposite, and our eyes would come into the perspective point and then up. So kind of crazy on how line can really affect how somebody reads a graphic design piece. And that's what we go for. We want to lead people through our designs when we're designing. We want to take them on a ride. We want to tell them a story. Storytelling is huge in graphic design, because if you can tell a story, you can get people to remember. Or here the design is set up to kind of keep your eye always in the piece. I start at the top, go down, come out. I look again, I come in, go up. So it's kind of based on this like repetitive eye motion. And it gets crazier. Let's move this over. Get this centered up. This one, all lines, these curved lines, over and over and over, over. Just lines, coming in, swirling in, giving you vertigo. Really classic movie. What is this? Yeah, it's Alfred Hitchcock. And it's just lines centering in. And the oval it makes could be representative of an eyeball, maybe. Who knows? But if we zoom in closer, oh, I knew that was going to happen. We can see that there's a man and a woman, but the woman is drawn with line and the man is a harsh, like solid shape. So that also affects what's going on. Overpowering, we get that feeling. If she was a dark shape as well, that overpowering sense wouldn't be there. So she's drawn with line, sketch line, and then this is like really, precise curved lines to create this optical illusion from the time. Pretty rad. If you have questions along the way, feel free to ask. Online people, if you chat, it pops up in my chat, whatever you're comfortable with. All right. Just a drawing, just going to California in the whatever 50s. I just like old graphic design pieces. I'm sorry. You could have this piece. It could be a model on the beach, with a hotel in the background. And if you took off the shadow, which is lines, and it's representative of a palm, it would look completely different. It would hold, you wouldn't get that sense that she's in the sun. She would just be like bright, and someday I'll like Photoshop that out to show the difference. But the line adds so much information to the viewer about the model, like all this. If this wasn't on there, it would just be a plain old model just sitting there, and we'd be like, yeah, whatever. But it adds like, oh, she must be on the beach, and there's palm trees in the background, which signifies, oh, she's hanging out near a palm tree and she's shaded by it. That just adds to the tropical lifestyle, doesn't it? And it's really just done with a series of these lines that represent a palm branch. Just done so easily. Like now I'm so like want to get in there and change that and do the comparison piece. Really crazy. But it's just adding with lines. And then we talk about, I discover something all the time with these, something new. Move that off the page. Let's move up. We have these beautiful, relaxing, curved lines. And in the background, very horizontal lines from the hotel. So there's a beautiful contrast of like the hotel, which is, like this beautiful modern straight hotel, to the beach life, which is nice and calm and has these curves, and her hair's blowing in the wind, as well. So cool little contrast in lines there as well. This is a very famous piece from the 50s, and it's all based on line. Of course it is. And concentric circles. The lines are representative of the Beethoven music. So the artist took a segment of a Beethoven song, and I don't know like which parts. This is the story. I should know more. But each one of these lines represents like a musical stanza or some part of one of the popular songs that they would be present, in overture, or like one of these three things that they're playing. Is these curves are actually the music, just represented in line in an abstract way. So if you are like a very good, like, I don't know, musician, and somebody said, these represent blah, 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 could you play that? They might actually be able to play this, understanding more than like the average person. So it's almost as if the designer created a secret poster for Beethoven lovers that as soon as you understood it, you're like, oh, I can see it and I know what song that is. And it's all done with just these, circle lines. So there's always, designers also like to hide stuff. There's so many weird things you can do and develop and like kind of hide in designs. Or you think about like, like this is that, with the lines, is like, this is just really centralizing. People are looking right here on it, and then they get their information after. But they stand, like the longest part is you're going to be looking at this and trying to be like, okay, this goes to here. And you really like think about it. So the lines do really help create more interest in the piece. This could just be a big piece. They could just have Beethoven big at the top and then the information and be done. But because they did what they did, they created far more interest in the piece. And it's just lines. And I just kind of love this one. It's just lines, but there's so much form to it, but they're lines. It's a fictitious ribbon, but the way the lines are drawn, mostly from this like thin point to a thin point with a curve, it starts to give these lines a sense of form. But guess what? There is no form. It's just ink on a page. But we are fooling people. We're fooling the eye because of how we can develop these lines and make them thin to thick with a curve that we're representing what it might look like. And then so our brains look at that and says, oh, I should be able to touch this part as it's the furthest, closest to me. This bends back and around. This is far away from me, but it's really not. It's just a line. It's just a this line goes from here to here, around to here. It's a line, but we see it as form. And then we, design it in to get the added green and red, because it works with the Italian part, really kind of helps sink that in of these lines of ribbons. It's quite amazing. So that is line. I may review some of this again on Thursday. Is there any questions about the awesomeness of line and design yet? All right, cool. Let's move on. Maybe, you know what? What are we at? Okay, I'll talk about a couple assignments and then talk about more on Thursday. Let's switch over. So I want everybody to have some time. Not that window. We want that window. All right. I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to talk about the textbook because it's an easy assignment. And then I'm going to talk about the research. And then I'll let you guys go. And then Thursday we'll do the design project and the design practice. So the textbook, don't worry, it's all here for you. I have this one. It's Formstorming. Formstorming is about brainstorming. It's a nice kickoff to design. It gets you to think about how to think creatively. So knowing this before you even do like the first project, and not the research, but the project, will help you out. You just click on this, and it's the embedded book. Now, for these, all I want you to do, read section 1 of the textbook. Just I want you to read, glance through it. And I want you to write something that you found interesting or jumped out at you in the section. Can you relate to anything in the book, to a personal experience? I'm looking to see what you have learned from the book. I'm not looking to have you repeat to me what the book was about. I've read it. You're going to read it. You don't have to tell me what it's about, but I want you to say and it's 100 words. I want you to write 100 words, which is 4 sentences. It's not that much. But if you're perusing through and you're going through the book and you're kind of reading things, and then you get to something like this, and you're and then you'll be you know what? On that page, I really like that thing that they did with blah, blah, blah. And I read more about it. I thought it was super interesting how they were able to do that. That's what I want from you, not a repeat. So the other thing I'm going to say is I'm going to know if a robot wrote it for you as well, because the robots write it very specific, and they don't usually say, hey, I really liked this thing on page blah, 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 where they did this and that. Like the robot will just give you your 100 words, and I'll be like, why don't you tell me what you think about it rather than what AI thought of it? So that's it. Like, I'm not looking for like, you know, a repeat and that you know absolutely everything. I want you to like look through, grab a couple points and be like, this was kind of cool. I read about this, blah, blah, blah. I want you to write it. You can use any word processing program you want. MATC comes with Google Drive, and the Google Drive has Google Docs. So you can just do it in Google Docs, or you can do it in Word, whatever you're most comfortable with. But I'd like it to look nice. So as a graphic designer, everything you do from this point on in your life should look good. Where sloppiness is out. If you type a letter to somebody, if you said, you're going to start looking at it and being like, I want it to look better. Everything should look great. And so that's part of this, you know, simple MLA writing format. Just get it to look professional. You have your last name at the top, or maybe like your name here. This is page 1, Skaja page 1. That's my last name. Your name here, instructor, you know, and then you type it out. And it should look really nice. And I have little clues here. How did I do that? Well, my font was Times New Roman. Times comes on like every computer. I used a font size of 12 point. I made sure everything was double spaced. I only centered the title, and I indented the paragraphs. And if you just do that, you'll have like this great little looking piece of information. It looks good. It's easy to read. It's not a jumbled mess. And you're learning how to communicate, which is the key point of graphic design. You're a visual communicator. The easier people can read your stuff, the easier it is for you to communicate to them. It's not, this is literally like, yeah, I say 1 hour. It should take 1 hour. Set a timer for yourself. I try to put these estimated design time, is how long I think you should take. If you take 45 minutes to look at the book, let's say 40 minutes to look at the book, 5 minutes to open a program and kind of set it up, in 15 minutes to type 4 sentences, you know, 100 words, you're done. If you're a fast reader, you get this done in 30 minutes. You know, like, so gauge your time, but I give you estimates that are high. These are high estimates on like how long it should take you. I understand it's going to take some people longer to do some parts than others, but just kind of know, like, estimate your time. When you sit down, be like, I'm going to need an hour with this. And here's the old man going to talk here. That's 1 hour uninterrupted. Turn off your notifications for an hour. Just work on the project. I would say if you turned off phone notifications and put your phone in a different room for the 1 hour and just kind of read and did the project, you'd be done 30 minutes to 45 minutes. If you keep your phone on and keep looking at it and dodging it, it's going to take you 2 hours and it's going to be arduous. I live by that. I don't have notifications turned on my phone. Like, you get used to it. I don't know. Yeah, I understand. You got to be in contact with people. But if you turn it off for an hour, you tell people, don't bug me for an hour, I'm studying, they'll listen to you, because studying is more important than what they ate or what they tripped on or whatever they're telling you about. That's so important to bug you. All right. So easy enough. That should take you in. This one, maybe 2 hours, but it's fairly easy. All right. This is the research project. What you're going to do is you are going to find 3 examples from graphic design history. Graphic design. Only graphic design. Nothing else. This is a graphic design course. It's not a painting course. It's not a drawing course. It's not a photo course. Graphic design. Should actually emphasize that. 3 graphic design examples for the following element. Line, exploring different time periods. I just say that because it's more fun to look around and try out some different things. You are going to conduct the Google image searches or whatever you want to do, however you want to get these. And you can do something like 1960s movies posters, because what you're going to find is a single example of a book cover, a movie poster, and an album cover that each have an emphasis of line in them. So if I were to simply just copy this to make it easy, and I go, what I'm going to do. So this is a Google search. I put 1960s movie posters, and instead of all, I'm going to click on images. And I'm going to look through these. And first one, right here. It's framed by lines, right? That's a great one. You're just going to look through. Here, this one. These could be lines or shapes. They're kind of like curvy lines. I may question you, depending on what you show me. And just look through. And the thing is, what I want you to be doing too is looking. And just like, wow, okay, that's really cool. Oh, I like that design. And you're just like kind of going through. And you're just looking for something that has line or lots of lines in it. And if you get stuck, change your search. 1970s. Maybe I want something different. And you're just looking for something that emphasizes with line in a movie poster, line in an album cover, line in a book cover. What do I put? Book covers. Book covers. There's a lot of graphic there. Oh, look, see this one. And you just got to find these. Brief history of science. Look at all those lines. Oh, look at this one. There you go. So let's say that's my image. I need to save this image, and what you're going to do is you're going to create a presentation. For the first 4 sessions, you can use a program that you are comfortable with. After that, we are going to start using Illustrator and InDesign to create these presentations. But I don't want you to worry about that right away. I want you to worry more about learning how to get the information, get it good, make it look beautiful, make it look great. So you are going to design a presentation template that's 16 by 9 ratio, 16 wide by 9 tall. If I go to Google Slides, let's change this out. And I'm going to go to Google Slides, which you all have as part of your MATC setup. And I'm going to go to, I can click on blank presentation. This automatically sets it up as 16 by 9 ratio. If you go to page setup, it's 16 by 9. That's the ratio. That's perfect. Now, you can have some fun, and I would prefer you not just do a blank document, but pick something cool. They have all these pre-selected ones that are pretty awesome, that have different pages, or you can do a Google slide search. Slide templates. There's a ton of free ones out there. Just get free stuff, look around. Is this it? No. Where's the library? Let's see this library. Fresh library. Oh, that's it on the side. So they already added it. So they updated. But if we go back out here, all different, I want this as my front one, but oh, here. Use this one for line. You know what I mean? Look at all those lines in there. And then you put, your title, whatever. So 16 by 9, make an interesting presentation. And clearly label, book cover, movie poster, album cover. Don't worry, I'm going to go through this all in detail. Choose a layout that visually enhances the content. Consider 1 page per image or 3 pages. Make sure the spacing between design elements is the same in relation to each other. This is where we're going to get out of that high school sloppiness of like where you just put everything as big on the page as you can. And we're going to start to design and give room between things and realize that like biggest isn't best. We're going to take our time. We're going to like look at things. Create a visually appealing presentation as if you were a professional graphic designer. Then you will export it, save it, and stuff. I'm going to show you the 2 examples, and then I'm going to actually kind of show you some tricks and tips. And I will continue this on Thursday, as you know, just to keep helping you. But you can get started and find your examples. You can do your attendance before then. You can do your book reading before then, and you can find all your examples before then, and then know like I'm going to go in deep and show you how to create presentations. But here's an example. Elements, line research by Joel Skaja. And then here we go. I have an album cover. And if you zoom in on this one, there's like the background is like all these concentric lines. I have a book cover where these sheets of paper create lines. And then I took my poster from my presentation. I can do that. It's mine. I did it. There's no problem there. I just don't want you can't use mine. That's the cutoff. Like, don't take the ones that I had in my presentation and show me them again. But as you can see from this, everything is spaced evenly between items. There's a gap. So we're going to start learning graphic design skills along the way. And this is a simple 2-page design. If you want to like, this is all like harder but simpler. This is like, here's page 1, I have my intro. Then here's the album cover, just all on 1 page. Book cover, poster, everything's centered perfectly. The type isn't touching anything. Nothing touches anything. That's something we have to learn too as we design, is nothing should touch anything. So where was I with my search? I love this piece. I want to use it. So all you need to do is right click on it and you can save image as. All right. And just remember where you save it, or smarter yet, start creating folders for yourself. So if I created a new folder, actually cancel, I think at 103 line, I already have a folder created, and then I'm just going to save it. Or I can change the name to line book so I know what it is. And I'm going to hit save. And then album covers. Let's do some album covers. Album cover covers. That's redundant. Let's see if I can find a quick one. And I always say quick because I'm trying to not bore you all, you know, and just like, he just looked for images for 10 minutes. Like, no, that's your job. No. I didn't want to do this because this takes it away from you guys, but save image as, and this is album. All right, good enough. So I have my presentation. I'm going to delete this page. I just hit delete. Add a title. So my title would be Design Elements Line. Company name, that's me. That's fine. And then this is this. So when you look at when you take your piece, make sure you delete all the stuff that's not needed. You know, you just delete it off. Nobody doesn't have to be on there. And then I'm going to delete all this stuff again. because it's not needed. And then I'm going to add in my images. So I'm just going to go to Insert, Image, Upload from Computer. I'll go to 103, and I got my element folder. And I got my, where's the one that had line in it? Line. So I can actually, I'll take all of these. I'm going to hit open, and it just places them all in there. It actually does somewhat of a good job. Oh, I'll keep that one. And I'll delete this one. Now, right now, I can't see nothing, right? I can delete this one. So I have my 3 images. And now this isn't good. I need to start making them smaller. So I'm going to drag from a corner and make it smaller. And I don't have to hold down Shift or anything. It just makes it smaller. Now this piece is done. But if I look at this piece, there's white all around it. Let's zoom in. And see all this white around it? There's a little edge there. I know for some of you it might be hard to see, but I want to crop this image. So cropping is cutting out the parts that you don't need. And it's this symbol right here. And it says crop image. And I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to just, I have this giant cursor and it makes it very hard. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to crop up to the book. We don't need to show the client, the viewer, anything else but the book cover. So we crop it out. It's still there, but it's just the image. See that? And then we do that with this poster as well. I make the poster smaller. And then I'm going to crop it. Crop it. Oh, wait. No, we need to keep all that at the bottom. Oh, it is. It bleeds out. All right, perfect. Good, good, good. Now, actually, maybe I don't want to crop it. Oop. So I use the big pointer to help you guys see where I'm moving. But the big pointer doesn't have very good accuracy then. So I'm like working on some things that makes it hard. So I'm going to do some stuff like, all right, where do I want these lined up? How do I want them to be? And I'm thinking about that. So why don't I make the book cover the same height as the album cover? It's a design choice. That way those look good. The poster, if I make the poster small, does it look too small? Maybe not. And as I do stuff, I want you to see, as I move that centerpiece, down below, the computer actually calculated perfect spacing for me. And it gives me these things. See those blue little brackets it showed? Those mean that these 3 are all equally spaced from each other now. And so why not work from there? And now I can select all 3, maybe move this over. And then what I want to do is I can align them. Where's the line? Sometimes you can just bring this up, bring this up, bring this up. And I'm going to click on this, this, and this. And I'm going to hold this down. And then now they're all the way across. They look great. They're perfectly spaced. And like, that's the things I'm going to look for. And I'll tell you like, oh, they could be spaced better. You didn't use the computer to space them. And then we just have to add our little text at the bottom. So we go to the text tool, which is, I always text. And then I can just type like book cover. Or type it in here. Oh, it is. It's just not showing up. Cover book. If you're here for the class, take a seat, and I'll talk to you after I'm done.
Okay.
All right, so we need white text. So we want, oh, there, we got a white block. I can make this, oh, I don't want two. Delete that. Delete. Make this smaller. Move it up. And I'm gonna like perfectly align it. With the poster. So that's the book cover. And then I can copy and paste that. And I can do album cover. Let's draw it all the way out. And there's so many things. You just have to watch for those indicators to show up for it to work. Album cover. Done. And then I can do grab on it, copy paste, and make it smaller. I'm gonna do book cover. And that's his movie poster. And there you go. So that would be it. Like, so I have my intro page, and then I have my 3 examples. And everything's like spaced nicely, looks good, and the computer does it for you. Like, that's the big part. Like, it's almost hard not to. Like, if you did, you know, overlapping, but as soon as you come on in and you see it, it indicates like perfectly centered. You're done. So that is how the first rendition of doing the research part. Any questions so far? All right, cool. That's where I'll leave it today, and then we'll cover off more on Thursday. If you have questions along the way, of course, use the discussion board. I got questions here for the first week. Use that mid-session project review. Send me a message. However you want to contact me. I have a question about this. I don't understand that. Let me know. I'm here to help out, and we'll get you rolling. So that's it. And Thursday at 9. Cool. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.